look at the colors, how they're looking together. I'm pretty happy with it. Hello friends, my name is April and I'm the creator behind The Cozy Buckeye. I just want to thank you so much for clicking on today's video. If you're new, thank you so much for joining, and if you've been here for a while, thanks for coming back. You guys, I really do appreciate the community here. So you guys, today this video is so special. This project that I've been working on, if you guys haven't noticed, I just love granny squares and I want everyone to see the joy that they bring me. If you've never made a granny square blanket, you don't know what you're missing out on. I mean, I know it takes a little bit to finish it, but they are just so incredibly beautiful. Every time I make one, I'm just in awe of their beauty. They're incredible. This video, I wanted to take you through the process of me making this blanket. I'm going to start with, the granny square, how I pick out the colors. I'm going to take you through each and every step of the process of this blanket. Now, I know this video may seem a little bit long, and I apologize for that. If you like those shorter videos, I'm going to put some timestamps so you can just skip on through the tutorial parts or the vlog parts, whichever one, you just want to skip around the video. Feel free to do that. I might at some point take the footage and just make a tutorial, but this video is just the process. The entire process of making this blanket. So I hope you stick around and enjoy this video. To start, I wanted to talk to you guys about, first, how do you pick the colors out? How do you decide what colors you want? I have an incredible tool that I bought with my own money because I fell in love with this on Instagram. I thought it was such a great idea. So I bought this product with my own money, and it is, I'm sure you've seen it, but have you guys seen these? The color cubes? They're by Sarah Renae Clark, and I will link where I got them in the description so you guys can go buy these if you choose. But I also wanted to show their cards of pictures. This is a great way to pick out colors for your projects. In the past, I've showed you the pocket color wheel, which is a great way to pick colors. On the back, it shows a triangle and a rectangle and a square, and you can line up the colors to get contrasting colors. So like purple is going to go well with yellow, orange, and green. And then if you're using a rectangle, it's going to show you that blue and green and orange and red go well together. Anyway, this is also another tool that I do use to pick out colors, so I can link this in the description. I believe it's in my Amazon shop. But back to the color cubes. These are so cool, you guys. I can't even tell you. I went to Joann and I pulled some cards out of here that I thought were really neat, and I went to Joann and I just pulled some yarn and was just looking at colors, and it worked out really well. I will put some footage in here to show you that right now. I walked around Joann and I tried to match the colors on the cards to the yarn, and it was so incredibly easy to do. I just wanted to share it with you guys. Now, you could use yarn stashes from home, but it's incredible just to go to the store and look to see what options you have available so that you can create a color palette to make your projects. I really love this one. Oh my goodness, this one was my favorite. So beautiful. I might have to actually use those colors in something. I decided to use these cards. Each card has a picture, and then on the back it'll show you the colors. So you can literally, if you want to make squares, you can either go buy yarn or you can look in your stash of yarn. I just made a blanket for Raja, but you could take and use your scraps of yarn to make granny squares. I love using scraps to make granny squares. But you can also do something more uniform, which is what I'm doing with what I'm about to show you. So I just wanted to show you how I am laying it all out. But I will show you the card that I used for the color palette. So I used this card here. All right, this was my inspiration, and I will show you the squares that I have made. We'll start with the white one. I made this square, and I made this square, and this square, and this square, and this square. All right, those are all the purples. So then I made some blue squares. And here's this one. And here's this one. And this one. And here's this one. Okay, so I didn't have the border or what I was, the yarn that I was going to connect. You can use scraps to make your squares, but when it comes to like connecting them, you're probably going to have to either have plenty of skeins or go buy some skeins, and I didn't really know what color to use, so I went to Joann and I picked out a color. I used this card and I ended up getting this color. So this color kind of matches that color there, and I just love the way this looks. I am going to show you guys how I'm going to lay this out to show you how I set it all up so that I can start putting it together. And I also am going to do a tutorial. I actually have already filmed it, so I will put that tutorial here. Let me show you how I make this granny square. So let's do that right now. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm going to show you how to make this easy granny square. To start, I'm going to use my 5mm hook, my favorite Clover Amour. This really helps fight pain, you guys, this ergonomic hook. All right, so I'm going to start with a chain 3, and I am not going to do a slip knot. I simply just take my hook and twist. Once you do your first chain stitch, it locks it into place. So then we're going to do 2 and 3. And I am going to slip stitch to the first chain to join. And this is going to be our ring that we're going to work inside. So I am going to chain 2. And then as I double crochet, I'm going to also grab my tail and kind of double crochet around that and the ring. So we're going to do 11 double crochets. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So including the chain 2, I should have 12. So I always count at this point, because if this point is messed up, you will be frogging something, and I don't like that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. Now I am going to slip stitch into, so you're going to slip stitch into the very top of this chain right here. Now I'm going to fasten off, and I do that. You act like you're going to be doing another chain stitch, and you just pull it through, pull it tight, and then you cut here. All right, so now at this point, I will always pull my yarn through. So I want to try to get rid of this little hump right here. So I'm going to go back a stitch and pull it through. And then I'm going to go to the next stitch and pull it back through. I'm going to do this just a couple times. And also this helps your ends from loosening. All right, so that is what we start with. Now, when I'm doing granny squares, I just randomly pick a stitch. I'm not always going to work right from here. I don't want my beginnings always to be in the same spot. So the next round, I'm just going to go anywhere randomly in between two stitches. I'm not going to be going up here. I'm actually going to be going in between the stitches. And for this, I'm using this particular variegated yarn, but to be honest, you guys, you can use any based on your color palette of your choice. So for me, it's going to be this one. And when I start my next round, I'm going to pick up my yarn. I'm going to stick my hook through, pick it up, and I am going to lock it into place by literally, you're going to grab your tail and your yarn and both pieces, and you're going to lock that into place. Right now you're going to drop the tail, but now I am going to drop the tail and I'm going to do chain 2, and then I am going to do a double crochet inside of that same hole. All right, now I am just going to continue going in between each and every one of these stitches, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets in between each and every one. So at the end you should have 12. So I'm just going to go around, 2 double crochets in between each one. Guys, my yarn is squeaking. I hate that. All right, I'm just going to keep going around. I am really excited to start doing tutorials for you guys. I'm gonna do more and more. I am always creating new things, and I just like to share how I'm putting things together, you guys. So if you would comment and let me know if you're interested in more tutorials from me, and if so, what types of tutorials. I know I'm going to be doing a hat tutorial really soon. All right, so just keep going around. And I will be honest, in between each round, I will count, because that's going to save me time once I get to the next round if I've missed a stitch and then I have to frog it. I hate frogging. It just wastes my time. So I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm going to slip stitch into this stitch here, the very top of the chain 2, next to the double crochet. You're going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch one more over, because I want to start my round in between these 2 stitches. So I'm going to slip stitch again, I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to put 2 double crochets in between I'm going to put 3 double crochets in between each group, but for this one I'm going to put a chain 2 and then 2. So the next one I'm going to put 3 double crochets, and you're going to go all the way around doing 3. Alright, so we made it all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2, and on this round I'm going to fasten off again. And again, I want to get rid of this little bump here, and lock my stitches into place. So I'm going to skip this one, go here, pull the yarn up, go to the next one, pull it back down, and then I'm just going to do that again. And this locks your stitch into place. And that's what you have. All right, so then the last part we're going to do is the purple. All right, so I'm going to put my hook through and pull up my yarn, and I'm going to grab both the tail and the yarn, and I'm going to slip stitch. That locks it in place. Now I'm going to drop my tail and chain 3, and now I'm going to triple crochet 2, and then I'm going to chain 2. These are going to be my corners, or this is going to be my corner, and then I'm going to triple crochet 3 in that same hole. All right, in the next section I will do 3 double crochets. I'm going to do that 2 times, so 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets. And in this next section is going to be another corner, so I'm going to triple crochet 3. Chain 2. 3 triple crochets. I will be doing 3 double crochets in the next 2 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3. Then in the next space we'll do the same. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do the corner again. So we're going to do 3 triples. 3 triple crochets. That was 1, this is 2, and now 3, and then we will chain 2, and then 3 triple crochets in the same spot. Alright, so the next 2 sections will be 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then again, 3 double crochets. And in this next section, we are going to do 3 triples. Chain 2, 3 triples, all right, and then I'm getting ready to pass over my tail from the previous round, so I'm going to try to double crochet over that in this next section. So we have 3 double crochets, and I'm going to keep hanging on to this tail and go over it again. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3, and I'm going to fasten off. All right, so a big part of making granny squares, you guys, is dealing with your yarn. You guys have to weave in your ends, okay? I've been listening to some other crochet artists on YouTube, and they sometimes won't tell you. They'll just say, oh, I just crochet over my ends, but you really need to weave them in. I made a blanket and it was beautiful, and we used it for a couple years, and all of the ends started unraveling. So I had to spend my time fixing it, and you don't want to do that. I promise you don't want to do that. So, all right, so I'm going to take this end and I'm going to weave it in back and forth. All right, now I'm going to flip my square over. On this corner stitch, I like to take this yarn over to this corner over here, and then I'm going to try to go through here to join this end. All right, so now I'm going to pick both of these up, and if you have to, trim the ends so you can grab both. And now I'm gonna skip this strand here and then go weave it in, and then I'm going to skip this one here and weave it back through. And I try to weave it like this every single time. All right, now I'm going to take my yarn and snip it right here. And I try to do this as I go, you guys. I don't ever want to have to spend like days weaving ends. I'd rather do it as I go. It's way easier that way. Promise. All right, I'll snip that here in a minute. I'm going to just work my way down to all of these ends. And I'm just going to kind of weave back and forth. And I don't want to go like around more than just one section because I don't want to be able to see my ends. I want them to just kind of disappear. I'll get that in a minute. And then you are left with the white. All right, and with the white that goes around, I will pull it a little bit tighter, you guys. And then I'm going to try to keep going around the circle to keep it tight. So that way there's not a big hole in the center. Now that's just personal preference. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I think it looks better. All right, so I'm going to go back through and snip my ends. All right, and there you have it. Easy peasy. Okay, next I'm going to show you the design of my blanket and how I'm going to lay them out. So let's go do that right now. All right, so here are all of my squares. I'm going to share with you guys how I put these together. So first, you guys, I'm going to be putting the darkest purple on one side. I'm going to lay these all out. And then I'm going to put the next purple. And the next purple. And you know, if you were doing all different kinds of scrap squares, it's very important. This step's very important because you don't want to put squares that are similar right next to each other. So you lay it all out so that you can kind of plan where you're going to put your squares. But this design I'm really excited about because I'm going from dark purple to lighter purple. And when I was planning it, I just was so excited about it. All right, now the middle is going to be white. All right, so then we're going to go with this light blue. And then I'm going to go darker on this side. And then we have this color. All right, so then I just have 2 more rows. Okay, so I have everything laid out. Now, if you had, like I said, mixed, matched granny squares, you want to arrange them to where you don't have similar colors touching each other. And then when you get everything all done, you are gonna simply just stack your rows, and you want to number them if you have to, so that as you're doing your border, you have, you know, to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, me personally, I'm just going to do one color at a time for this blanket, so it'll be super easy. But if they were all different, you would have to number your rows. That's basically it for this step. Let me share with you guys a different view. Okay, so I am ready to start showing you guys how I put my granny square blanket together. And I will be honest, this is my absolute favorite part. I love when I get to this point of a granny square blanket, because putting it together and just seeing how it comes along is so much fun. So I have this diagram here for you guys I drew up to show you how I'm going to construct this blanket and put the squares together. I'm going to double crochet them together, and if you want to do a screenshot or just save this part of the video to help you construct it, that I would suggest that. You're basically going to start here in this corner, and you're going to work around the square down this way, and then you're going to join these two together, and then you're going to work back up this way. And I mean, you're just going to keep going up and around, and then you're going to crochet across the bottom of this row, and then you're going to attach your next row, connecting these, and then you're just going to continue the process until you have all your squares done. And at the very end, once you get to this point, then the only thing left to do is to double crochet back up, and then you start your border after that. But I absolutely love this part, so I hope you guys enjoy it too. I'm going to show you how I do it. Let's get started. All right, so the color cube card that I used for this blanket for my color palette is going to be 272. I did not add this green color. I looked at Joann to see if I could make this my border, and I just wasn't feeling it. Now I'm going to use this color to connect all my squares, but I was considering maybe adding this as my like pom-pom border, but I don't know yet. I'm still kind of thinking about that. So let's see how it comes together, and then I'm going to decide on my edging. I haven't quite figured that out yet. For the yarn that I'm going to use to connect, I chose my Karen 1 pound, and I'm using Fig, I think. Yeah, Fig. I just think it matches really well to this, and I just love, I took all my squares to Joann, and I decided on this one. So we are going to start connecting now, and I am going to start with my purple, my darkest purple, because I'm going to go dark purple and go light and have white in the middle, and then I'm going to have my light blues out to my dark blues. We'll start with this one, and to start, we are going to start here in this corner right here. So I am going to join in the corner here with my yarn. I am going to pull up a loop. I'm going to grab my tail and my yarn. Slip stitch. I'm then going to drop this tail, but I'm going to crochet over top of it just in this corner here. That just adds more security, guys. So I'm going to double crochet 3. So the first one though is going to be a chain 2, which will be considered a double crochet. So now I'm going to double crochet 2, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to double crochet 3. So in the corner, I always go over, when I'm joining, I always go over my tail, and then when I hide it, I'm going to loop it back and forth through here, because I don't like to see my tails and my work in the back. So all right, so we are going to be working in each loop, each space underneath your stitch. I'm going to be working under it, and I'm going to put 3 double crochets in each section. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. One, 2, and 3. All right, so for each corner, it's going to be the same. It's going to be 3 double crochets and a chain 2. All right, so now we're going to work down this side. 3 double crochets. My yarn is squeaky, you guys. What hooks do you guys like that don't squeak? Or is it the yarn? What is the deal? I am not a fan of squeaky yarn, but all right, so 3 double crochets. All right, so we're at the corner. I'm gonna do 3 double crochets, you guys, and then I'm gonna chain 2. So you're only gonna do half of the corner right here. So you're 3 double crochets, chain 2. We're going to grab our next square, and at first this process might seem a little odd, little tricky, but you know, once you do a couple, it's like second nature. All right, so we're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and we're going to take and go through the front of the square. Take your hook and go through the front. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to basically do a double crochet. You've got a double crochet around your second square in the corner. Now I'm going to turn my granny square back around here, and I'm going to be working through these loops here, each stitch on this side. Okay, so each stitch. So I'm going to put my yarn through, and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to do another double crochet, and I'm going to go back through this next hole, next loop, and I'm going to slip stitch, and I'm going to double crochet, because we're building half of our corner here. So I'm going to double crochet again, and I'm going to slip stitch into the last stitch of this cluster. All right, so we're working our way back this way, and now you're going to have these connected across from each other. So you want to make sure your loops line up. All right, so the next stitch, you're going to be working in this cluster right here. So you're going to yarn over and start another double crochet. All right, and then you're going to slip stitch. You're going to work slip stitches all the way back up here. And you're going to do 3 double crochets in each one of these clusters on this side, or each one of these spaces, and you're going to slip stitch. So you got to have 3 double crochets in each section, and then your last slip stitch should be at the end of this grouping. And then we're going to just keep repeating this process to the corner. So yarn over and then double crochet in the next section, slip stitch, double crochet, and then slip stitch, double crochet, and slip stitch. Just each section, 3 double crochets and then slip stitch, or every double crochet you slip stitch, but each section has 3. All right, so we're going to put 3 double crochets here, continue this, slip stitch, slip stitch, double crochet, slip stitch. Okay, so we are at the corner, you guys, where we've got our 3 double crochets here, and we haven't done our slip stitch yet at the corner. So it would normally go here, but at the corner I go up into the actual corner and slip stitch. And the reason I do this is because if you don't, your blanket will start to like curve this way. So I actually did several of these and then frogged it so I could correct it and show you guys the correct way. You want to put it in the corner, and then you're going to chain 1 and then 3 double crochets. Now you could probably do it the other way, and maybe when you started crocheting the border it would even itself out, but me personally, I like to just make sure I'm doing it correctly. So when you put your slip stitch up here into the corner, it just kind of straightens it out right there. This is what your first join will look like, and I just love this look here. It's really pretty, gives it extra texture, and I just love these colors, you guys. It looks so good. It's coming together really nice. And I guess I've been on a purple kick here lately. Purples and blues, I guess they're one of my favorite colors, because right now I'm just drawn to purple, and it's weird. I used to never really love purple. So anyway, all right, so that's what it looks like. We're gonna keep going. I'll show you a couple more squares. All right, so then 3 double crochets, in each section to the corner. Really sorry about the squeaky yarn. I don't know if it's my tension. I don't know. If it's the yarn, if it's the hook. So 3 double crochets in the corner, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochets back in the same corner. All right, so now we're going to do 3 double crochets in each section. Okay, so now we're at the corner. We're only going to do half, so we'll do 3 double crochets. And we will chain 2. All right, you guys, now for the fun part. I know this is probably the most challenging section thus far when you're joining, but again, just keep doing it. It gets easier. All right, we're going to yarn over. Hold your finger on the yarn, and then we're going to go through the front to the back. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, crochet through 2, crochet through 2. So now you have a double crochet on your granny square that you're attaching, and you're going to kind of turn your work around, and this very first hole here, so right there, you are going to stick your hook in and grab your yarn. You're putting a slip stitch right there. All right, so we're gonna yarn over, go through the corner again, pull up a loop, crochet through 2, crochet through 2. So now you have your second double crochet, and after each double crochet you are just going to slip stitch in the next hole here, the next stitch. We need to put 3 double crochets in each section, so let's double crochet, slip stitch. Just want to make sure that you are keeping in line, because you know you might have to frog if you get up to the top and you're in the wrong stitch. I've done that quite a few times actually. All right, so now we're just going to keep working 3 double crochets in each section and slip stitching on this side after each double crochet. So we're going to double crochet and then slip stitch. Double crochet, slip stitch. And we're going to work half of our corner stitch now. Okay, so we're to the corner here, and again, you've got your 3 double crochets, and normally you would go into this hole right here, but because it's the corner, we're going to put it up in here. So we're going to slip stitch up there, and then chain 1, and then continue on 3 double crochets. All right, guys, I just love these colors. Oh my goodness, this blanket's going to be so pretty. All right, so we're just moving right along. I'm going to work my way back around. I hope this helps you guys so that you can make your own granny square blanket. I will say that I really enjoy making granny squares. I know I crocheted for a long time before I even thought about it. And I was like, granny squares, that's for old ladies. I'm not an old lady. I don't do that. I do fun stuff. And then I made some granny squares because my daughter wanted a purse, and I was hooked, you guys, absolutely hooked, especially because I have so many scrap pieces of yarn from all the hats I make in my business that this really, I mean, I could probably put together like 8 blankets with all the scraps I have, maybe more. It's crazy. I try to use the scraps, but sometimes I'll use a yarn and I just won't use it again because of the color or whatever, and then I just have all this yarn. All right, so we're back to the next join. I will show you guys the join one more time, and then I am going to meet you at the end of this row. I'm going to finish my row, and then I will show you how to connect the next row. All right, so we have our next square, and once you get to the corner, you're going to chain 2. I'm going to yarn over and go through the front of the corner, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now I have 3 loops, so I'm going to go through 2 and then go through 2. So now I have a double crochet on my connecting granny square, and from there I'm going to go and slip stitch, because after every double crochet we got to do a slip stitch. So we're going to go in this very first double crochet stitch and we are going to slip stitch. And then I'm going to do a total of 3 in each section. So now I have to do 2 more double crochets, and then I am going to slip stitch. So I'm going to work in this next opening here. Double crochet, slip stitch, double crochet, slip stitch until you get 3. So this is number 3. All right, now we're going to work in these sections. See how easily you can get off? This is a good example. So I put 4. I was like, why is it off? That's because I messed up and put 4. So if you get up to the top and you're not even, just double check and then frog it. I've done that several times. All right, so 3 in each section, and you see how they connect, and they're exactly the same on both sides. So if you get off, then you can look back to see why. All right, so we are going to fix that. Right, so we are at the corner again, and I'm gonna again take my slip stitch into the center there to keep my blanket straight. All right, there we have our connections. If you guys need to rewind the video to rewatch the sections, I completely understand. I'm gonna continue my purple here, and when I get to the end of the section, I will show you how to go down through the bottom, so I will be back. So I'm working on my blanket. I am 4 squares in, you guys. Let's see how far we can get. Try to get this row done. Look how much we've done. We've got this first row done. I think it's looking beautiful. It's my favorite part of making granny squares is putting all these squares together. All right, so once you get your row, your very first row complete, now we have to go all the way across the bottom of the row to the very end. So I'm going to just show you a couple, and then we'll pick back up when we start adding squares again. All right, so you rounded your way around the corner like usual. You get to the corner, and it's just going to be like this one. So we are going to do 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets. All right, so now here in our graph, we are doing this part right here where we're going all the way across. All right, so it's really actually quite simple. Continue doing your 3 double crochets in each section. I always like it when I get to this part because I know I get to add another row of squares after I get through with this. So all right, so, okay, now we're to this section here. All right, so we're going to put 3 double crochets in the same corner stitch. All right, we are going to chain 1, and right here, right there, you see that? Right there is where you're going to slip stitch. And then you're going to chain 1, and then you are going to 3 double crochet again. So that's it, you guys. You're going to 3 double crochet, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, 3 double crochet every time you get to this section here. Quite simple. We're just going to let's get through another square here. So 3 double crochet in each section. All right, so here we are in the corner stitch. We're going to do 3 double crochet. Okay, we're going to chain 1, and then right here we are going to slip stitch and chain 1, and then 3 double crochet. My gosh, you guys, how beautiful. I love these colors. They're coming out so nice. All right, so if you need to rewind the video to watch that, feel free to rewind, but I'm going to continue down this row all the way across. And when we get to this corner here, I will show you how to add the next square and do this part. Okay, you guys, here is the first row. What do you think? Looking good. Well, hey, I think I am going to cut this video here because the video footage it's just so long. I took a poll on my YouTube community and the vote was to make it into 2 parts. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to have a second part of this vlog probably next week at the latest, maybe sooner, we'll see. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. Also, if you want to take a look at the color cubes, I will link those in the description of this video. I really do love, absolutely love the inspiration that comes with those color cubes for crochet. It's incredible. My daughter came over here and was like, I need to paint my house. And then she was going through and looking at the cards for inspiration for painting too. I mean, I'm like, you could do so much with these cards. It's incredible. So anyway, I'm just so thankful for everyone. Thank you guys for all your comments. I appreciate you being here. I would love to chat with you if you want to drop a comment. If you want to support me, please like, comment, and subscribe. All right, well, I will see you in part 2. All right. Okay. Okay. And then, Alexa, stop. My reminder to pick up my son, except he has lacrosse today.
Hi, Stinky!
And there's my daughter. You want to come say hi? The camera. Let me just film this part real quick.